So you would incorporate that into your therapy?
Yes. If I have my own business.
Oh, so you're not planning on being a business owner?
No.
I think so.
All right.
Really?
Yeah, you're a leader.
Cool. Ready when y'all are.
So we got half an hour on.
You're rocking with the voice of Town View. We put our spin on trending topics and school news. Thought-provoking, insightful, we speak the truth. We do it for all ages, not just for the youth. Listen close, you might learn something. Or laugh so hard, you split your side of something. Live stream a podcast. Whenever you tune in, it's sure to be a blast. Let's be honest, you don't want to miss that. Content so real, you're going to want to run it back. We keep you entertained while making an impact. Want foreign announcements? Well, this is not that. Sports, pop, culture, political. Whatever you like, we got you covered, bro. It's a movement more than just a show. It's KSBM Radio.
Welcome back, KSBM viewers. This is your favorite radio host, KG, along with his other favorite radio host,
Jody.
And I'm Nemo.
And for today's podcast episode, we have a special guest from Mentor Connector, Mr. David Reeves.
Good morning. How y'all doing? Good morning.
So we've been following you since the first Fridays thing, and it's been a lot. We've learned a lot from you, and now we're here. Now we can interview you. Pick your brain, see what you see when it comes to the world of media and marketing and all that. But what we do.
Nice. Well, thank y'all for having me. First of all,
it's a blessing. It's a blessing. It's a pleasure. Everybody loves it. So
y'all sharp doing what you do. That's it.
So, what we like to do on the podcast is we like to pick the brains of people that we're interviewing, and
as Principal Pouncey's taking a snap of us right now. No pressure.
No pressure whatsoever. But we like to come to the roots of everything.
The roots.
Where did it start? Where did your mindset grow? Is what we kind of want to start this out. So, I guess my first question to you is when somebody hears when they hear the name David Reeves, what should they think of?
Man, mentor, and that's the root for me. And first of all, I throw the king on there now, and it's God given, it's anointing. The Lord was showing me King David, just like in the Bible, took on Goliath, this giant. As a kid, he took on this giant that everybody else was afraid of. And a lot of us in life, especially as kids, before we graduate high school, we have these giants that scare us, and not realizing the biggest giant we have is figuring out what our purpose is. And so King David conquered his biggest giant long before he was actually king. My role as a mentor and a mentor connector is to help youth and young adults conquer their biggest giants, which is figuring out their purpose in life while they're still kids, because I've seen too many grown people who live life and do not know which way to go, do not feel like they're living in purpose, fall into depression and anxiety and suicide because they're not connected to who they're supposed to be, who they're called to be, their true purpose in life. And so I've seen firsthand and secondhand and third, fourth, fifth hand the importance of mentors or mentoring, but also being a mentor, being mentored as well. So, I'll pause right there because I can run with that first question all the way to the bank. So but so early on we see interviewing a bunch of mentors. One thing that they kind of mention is. It started late high school, early college, and do you want to talk about that period of time of like what high school you went to and how that high school prepared you for going to the college that you picked? Man, that's good, man. So for me, I grew up in Lancaster, church homes in DeSoto, but Cedar Hill actually had the only Air Force JROTC around. Mm-hmm. And unbeknownst to myself, that was going to be my path to get a scholarship to Texas A&M University. So I was grateful for that. My dad kind of had his mind set because he was in enlisted Air Force, but he wanted me to go in as an officer, which means you go to college first. They pay for you to go to college, then you graduate, and you come out actually making almost 3 times as much as someone who goes into the military straight after high school. Mm-hmm. So for me, that was, as Robert Kiyosaki says, the author Rich Dad Poor Dad, that was the best leadership training in the world, the military. Now, for me though, the path I took to get there was not the path I wanted it out, but I kept doing what everybody else around me that I respected, especially the adults, said was the best thing to do. Like, you make good grades, right? You're gonna get a good scholarship and go to a good college, and bam, you'll be successful, right? Yeah. Is that not what we most of us are told by your parents, their friends, your aunties, uncles, tias, your church members, like anybody who helped raise you, right? That's what they tell you. That's the path.
Yeah.
So I did that. I made straight A's from the time I was in elementary through high school. It was all AP classes. And even when I transferred to Cedar Hill, they told me, because I came from Lancaster, that like, no, you probably should. You need to stay in regular classes. Now, it's pre-AP, AP, you might not be on that level. I was like, but you don't know my background. I started out in private school. I was 3rd grade. My parents couldn't afford it anymore after that, so 4th grade I was in Lancaster public school system. But I had such a good foundation that in 3rd grade I was reading and doing math on the 11th and 12th grade level. So by the time I got to 4th grade, my teacher was like, well, I can't really teach you anything more or new, so you should reach back and mentor and tutor some of these 1st and 2nd graders who can't even read. And I was like, what? Yeah. Can't read. I'm a 4th grade thinking I have nothing to offer. And that's what really triggered it for me, that at my young age, I still was able to mentor someone younger than me. And so at every level, especially since I started martial arts when I was 7 with my dad, at every level I've been mentoring or building out mentoring programs, or telling my peers, hey, let's go help, let's go tutor, let's go mentor those younger than us. And what that did was I kept seeing how surprised my fellow students were in middle school, in high school, in college. Like, they were shocked that they could go back and speak to the elementary students or the middle school students when they were in high school, and they had impact. They listened to them, they looked up to them, and they didn't think they had anything to offer, but they were changing these kids' lives. Yeah. And so same thing here. I think my goal with Mentor Connector is really, like, I literally took the path that everybody said you should take to become successful. Making straight A's, being a good student. I was National Honor Society president in high school. I was involved. Like they said, you need to get involved. You want a good scholarship in college. So I was like, Business Professional Association. I was at Health Occupation Students of America. I was in Spanish Honor Society. I was in choir, a cappella choir. I was in ROTC. I was in varsity debate team. I was like, man, what, you said get involved, so I'm trying to get the scholarship. Yeah. But I didn't find this out to my junior year. Mm-hmm. And fortunately, it wasn't too late, but I feel like if I'd known sooner, I'd have been involved with more and would have made a bigger impact, or could have gotten the scholarship I thought I was supposed to get. So with me graduating top of my class, I was either number 6 or number 8. It like fluctuated in the last few months. But me graduating top of my class, I applied to like 33 different academic scholarships and only got like chump change. Yeah. And the Air Force scholarship, ROTC scholarship, that I did not want to apply to, but my colonel was like, man, you a closet nerd, you athletic, like they would love to have you. I was like, nah, bro, I ain't trying to go to the military, and sent overseas, get shot up, and sent back home in a box. Like, that's not my life, man. I got good grades. I got bigger things, bigger plan. And sure enough, that was the only scholarship offer that covered a significant enough amount. Yeah. So, all right, they're saying hurry up. So, what time we working with? How much time we got?
No, you're good.
Okay. How How much time though?
They're getting on to me.
We got time.
Okay, cool. I'm bringing full circle. Don't worry. Connecting it all. But basically, like, because I'm talking to y'all right now, and I think what's most important is that, you know, even though people tell you this is how you become successful, the quickest path to your true success is not by doing what your parents tell you to do, right?
Yeah.
Shout out to your parents, respect to your parents. They're telling you what they know, what they're exposed to, who's in their network that's successful, right? So because they love you, they want you to not experience some of the failures that they went through to get to where they are.
Yeah.
Like, both my parents have tried being business owners. They both have failed at business. So when I told them, that's what I'm going to do, be an entrepreneur, they weren't trying to hear that, because it's like they want to protect their baby boy from, and I'm the oldest, but they want to take they want to protect me from the same failure, heartache, and the financial burden that they experienced. Because when we moved to Cedar Hill, when money was good, same year, my mom's corporate job got caught up in an Enron scandal, so they laid everybody off. It was just my dad's income, and he was trying to. So he's a jet aircraft mechanic. He also had a janitorial company, and we had to work the janitorial company to help him. And he was doing that while on night shift fixing airplanes.
Yeah.
While my mom just got laid off, and we moved to Cedar Hill in a nice area called Lake Ridge, and could not afford it. So had the nice home, nice cars, but eating beans for almost every meal, right? But fortunately, being in that school district helped launch and propel me to Texas A&M. Got an Air Force ROTC scholarship, and I couldn't have done that had I not taken that path.
Yeah, and all the, like you were saying, like all the standards that we grow up understanding that you got to get your education. Because that's what's going. That's what's going to put you over the. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's what's going to put you over the edge, and that's your true key to success.
Yeah.
But you were saying,
like, I like how you mentioned earlier about like David and like the story. Like,
yeah, man.
Not to be too personal, but like I'm a little bit religious too, and so I like.
Oh, it's okay, man. I'm not about religion. I'm about relationship with God. That's what it is, man.
And so, from personal experience, near the end of your high school career, it gets a little stressful, right?
A lot of stress.
Talking about how people have to overcome like their own like Goliaths, right?
Yes, sir.
And so, what would you say would be the highlight, not for like lack of a better word, the highlight Goliath that you had to like get over or like overcome?
Yeah.
I think what I'm telling y'all, like, doing everything for everybody else. Like, my parents said, do this to become successful. These family members, these church members, these community leaders said, do this to become and I took it and thought grades was the way. And you do need to receive a higher education no matter what path you go on. But it's just not a cookie cutter path, especially not this day and age when you have the world of YouTube influencers or social media influencers who are making multi-million. Like, yes, education is important. Going to college, still important. I don't devalue it, I don't talk down on it. But the biggest value I got from college was the network. Because you got a powerful Aggie network out here, right? But you got so many people who went to college just to turn around and do something like going into real estate that you didn't need to necessarily go to college for. But there are different paths you can take, right? So my biggest giant was, okay, I did college, made my grandma happy, and that was meaningful to me. I was first Reeves to graduate from college, and she saw it while she was still alive. It was important. I did the military, the Air Force route, especially as an officer, because my dad said he didn't know any black officers, no minority officers. And it was a big thing to him. It was like, you don't have it set. You're going to be made. You're going to have job security, stability, making a lot of money. Man, you got basically the life he wanted and wish he had. And I got in there. I was like, man, this is not what you think it is. They're ready to hang you at the highest branch of the tree, because anything you do is under microscope because you're a minority officer. Meaning you're instantly going in with a bachelor's degree at 22. And because you got this sheet of paper, you outrank 80% of the military. And if you didn't get raised in a similar way that I got raised, where set from ages 7 to 10, I was earning my black belt and being called sir, but also calling people sir and ma'am, so that respect was already instilled. it wasn't foreign to me, but I also realized you can learn from anybody, any age level, and I can also teach. I have something to offer at any age level. So when I went in, I was humble. I was learning from those I was outranking, because the Chiefs were in their career for 20 plus, 30 plus years. Like, I wasn't, just because I'm outranking you technically doesn't mean I don't need you to help me in my career. It doesn't mean I don't need your wisdom, guidance, and support. And so I approached it from a different angle, because I didn't think too highly of myself, right? And at each level, though I did that for my grandma, though I did that for my dad, I had to get to a point after college and my career, my professional career, is like, okay, what am I going to do for myself? What I really want to do. And I told my dad I was leaving the Air Force because I want to mentor professionally, get paid to do that. And he said, "What you going? That's stupid. How you going to be a professional volunteer? You going to be a professional volunteer? How you going to make money doing that?" I said, "Man, I don't know." That's what God told me to do.
Yeah.
So I really sound crazy, right? And here I am to this day, and made a lot of good money being a professional volunteer, professional mentor. But most importantly, as a mentor connector, I've connected young people like myself to people who needed the opportunity, to the people they need to connect with, who are in very successful careers now because they connected with the right mentor while they're in college. They got the right internship while they're in college, or trade school, or the military, or starting a business already, or doing construction, doing the engineering, doing the architect, like whatever their path was that they wanted, not because their parents said, "Oh yeah, no, all my friends are in construction, do that, it's good money." Or they started a lawn service because they wanted to, a janitorial business because they wanted to, not because that was just a family business. And they made a lot of money doing it because they love what they're doing. Because anything you're passionate about, eventually you will turn your passion into your paycheck. Eventually. But you have to be willing to put the work in.
Yeah.
And that goes for therapists too.
Yeah.
Because you can make a lot of money. I know a therapist who literally she's a licensed professional counselor, mental health therapist, right? She's one of the clients we had up in Virginia. She owns 2 hotels. She's a black woman. She's not even 40 yet. Owns 2 hotels and has 22 licensed professional counselors working for her. So the hotels are focused around mental health and therapy. Yeah. So when I say you can own your own business, like big time. She's making multi-millions. You would never think it though. She's so humble.
Yeah. And just because of those, like you were saying, the big Goliath, everybody has a Goliath they have to overcome.
Yes, sir.
And now that you've been, do you feel like you're past that now? Like you've beaten that Goliath, and now we were looking through like some of the stuff that we saw, researching you use media to help overcome that Goliath, and it push the outreach of mentoring to a greater level than you ever could think of.
Yeah.
So
glory to God. I appreciate that.
So do you believe that the media is using the media is the best tool for you, and just the whole idea of outreach for mentors?
Absolutely. First of all, I'll say, because the people I saw, so you asked 2-part question, so the Goliath part. I feel like my biggest Goliath, my biggest burden that God gave me was like helping y'all realize that before you graduate high school is the best time to conquer your own giant of knowing what your purpose is. Because afterwards, I've seen so many people who thought their purpose was this or didn't know their purpose and didn't realize, okay, now it's like, okay, 18, I'm an adult. Why didn't nobody told me this was like this? Why didn't anybody prepare me for this?
There was no warning.
There's no warning. And you after it's like literally going on the front lines. Oh, nobody told me to put a helmet on or bulletproof it. I'm just getting shot. I'm taking shots from every angle. I don't know what direction I need to go in for safety and take cover. Mm-hmm. And that's what it is. It's like nobody prepares you for adulthood, not realizing like you're literally going from child as a senior to, all right, now you're grown.
Yeah.
Wait, who gonna buy my toilet paper? I gotta buy my own stuff now. My own deodorant too. And some people, grown up rougher, and may have not had parents, so they've been buying their own toiletries, right?
Yeah. But
maybe they don't realize that to get into this corporate job as an executive, you need to be mentored by the CEO first. And the best way to get that opportunity is when you're a kid, walking up to him and saying, hey, or her, and saying, hey, I'd like to shadow you. I'd like to volunteer my time. I'd like to intern with you.
Yeah.
Because as a kid, you're not threatening. But the same CEO you walk up to at 18 or 19, they're like, I mean, I give you some time, and my time only costs about roughly $50,000 to $75,000 an hour. So you want to sit down with me? We can make that happen if you got the budget.
Yeah.
But as a child, as a youth, they're not threatened. They're almost like, man, you admire me that much? You want to learn from me? Oh yeah, I'll give you, and they'll give you millions and billions of dollars worth of game. Yeah. Literally, because you approach them when you're younger. But nobody told me this, or else I'd already, I had to go to Mark Cuban when I was an adult. Yeah. I'd already been up in his face as a kid, because it's been way more impressive, right? So for me, my Goliath at each level was realizing, man, okay, I got all these real estate clients that I work with in social media marketing, or social media marketing company. And I learned every area of real estate, and I'm in my late 20s, early 30s learning this. I'm like, all roads lead to real estate. Why? If I'd have been told this when I was y'all's age, I'd been seeing multi-millions by 20, literally. But all roads lead to real estate. All careers, the doctors, lawyers, and engineers and architects, all are looking to invest in real estate, right? Or the people who had those connections, the basketball, the pro athletes and entertainers, same thing. They all are looking for who they can entrust with their investment dollars, so that you can get rich, but building wealth is generational. And that's what the Bible talks about. You want to be able to pass down wealth to your kids, your children. Yeah. That's the real power play, right? So the Goliath part is literally at each level being like, man, all right, I realize this. Man, I got this celebrity connection now. Man, I know all these multimillionaires now. Let me reach back with them. Let me bring them into the schools with me and introduce them to y'all, because I wish someone would have done that for me before I graduated high school. So that's my Goliath. But then the second part of the question, what was that?
The second part of the question was the mix between media and mentoring. Yeah,
media mentor. So that's why I host the Mentor Connector podcast, because I'm literally during COVID, when we had to go everything virtual, I was bringing in all these successful people, which that even started because I was trying to put spotlights on people in the community who are doing real work for the right reason. And y'all know, I mean, even like your teacher here, right? Great woman, great leader, but how many of those people that we need to look up to and need to know about don't have strong social media presence? Yeah. Nobody's putting the spotlight on them. So the Lord kept showing me all these great people leading nonprofits, community leaders, even the politicians, and some celebrities who were doing this undercover, behind the scenes work. And I was mad at social media one day, because I used to be on there so little in college, because I was trying to dodge a few exes and whatnot. Let's keep it real. But I'd be on there so little, to the point where I would like or comment on somebody's post. I'm like, oh man, Reeves, you alive? Come on, man, I ain't on there like I ain't that after you off the scene. But I started complaining to God about all the negative I saw out there, right? Don't we see all this negative, the evil, or when they get naked, or when they shoot or somebody fighting, that goes viral like that. And I was just complaining, like, man, why is all the negative going? But like, basically, it looked like the devil winning. And he's like, well, it's funny because you see all the good that's happening, all the positive that's going on, all the mentoring in schools, the giving back to the homeless, the going into women's and children's shelters, abused women and children's shelter. Like, you see all this good stuff going on, but you're not sharing it. They see all the bad stuff going on. They're sharing it right away. Yeah. So that's the only thing evil needs to do to keep winning, is for people who are doing good and know and see good happening and not share it. Be selfish with it. But at the same time, I understood that the men and women who are doing good things for the right reason, the positive in the community, they're not trying to brag about what they're doing. So they need somebody else to come and put the spotlight on. And so I started doing that just by going live or making reels and whatnot, taking selfies, or I call them ussies because it's not selfish when it's a group. But I was doing that, and they were getting more traction. They were having people reach out like, hey, where can we volunteer? When's the next time you're feeding the homeless or bring close to them? When I don't have time to show up, but can I donate money?
Yeah.
And it was literally because I was just making posts just to make people aware of this great work that's been going on, but they weren't trying to brag about it. And so they need somebody to do that for them. So I started social media marketing because of trying to bring the right spotlight to the right people, doing the right work, the good work for the right reasons. Same thing, I was bringing in multimillionaire mentors who only had a few hundred, a few thousand followers. Mm-hmm. And the kids or the young adults would be like, man, I Googled him. I looked him up on Instagram. He ain't got no followers. It's cap. I said, what? Yeah, he say he making all these million, but he ain't got no followers. So you ain't gonna listen to him tell you how to do the same thing and make all this. Okay, got it. So I started helping them build up their follower count, their brand, get the blue checks. The influencing is funny because they were doing more multi-million-dollar deals because of more exposure. But then when I brought them in front of the young people, they were all ears. They could be old as hell. They didn't care.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, he got the followers, bro. He credible.
Yeah. And I feel like that's a really big thing. Like a lot of people a lot of people look at the following and be like, yeah, he's not about nothing.
Yeah, it's just about the numbers.
And they'll immediately just discredit them. So I do feel like
sad.
Yeah, and I feel like the influence of media really showcases like how good something actually is.
Yeah.
I feel like I do agree with the fact that I feel like we capture a lot of like the negative in the world. Like I can give you a perfect example. Like right now, John Moran's situation is we'll cover that in our podcast episode later. But I'm saying just anything that's negative, you don't really see a lot of positive. I can give you multiple things. Like when just recently they had a Russell Westbrook interview. And everybody bashes Russell Westbrook for being, but I remember one reporter was like talking about all the good stuff he did through the game, and that blew up over all the bad interviews. And it just takes that one time to just cover the positive, and then that positive will grow even more. So
facts.
With the time coming down,
facts. As we're winding down. Is there any? Shout out to Anna for the timekeeping.
Yes.
Beautiful keeping us on track.
So, is there any final regards, any conclusion, any like words of advice, any mentor quotes you want to give us for tonight? For today.
Oh, you want quotes? Or you want
quotes? Wisdom.
The wise person learns from their own mistakes, but the wiser person learns from the mistakes of others.
Wow.
I got a few of those. Keep them on deck. I make it a point to study the greats. Just say if you want to become great, study the greats so you can become greater. Right? So learn from people's lives. And that's not just great people throughout the history books or pop culture. It's the greats all around you. There's a lot of people doing great things who, because they're not promoting themselves, you would never know. You never guess.
Yeah.
And so for me, part of my story is that I grew up in my first church home was Alcoholics and Narcotics Anonymous. So I was literally learning from all the former pimps and prostitutes, the drug dealers, the gangbangers, the murderers, the rapists, like all the people who society said, even the crackheads, like the heroin addicts, like all the people society said you shouldn't be learning from, were my first mentors, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why I really learned the value of a wise person learns from their own mistakes, but a wiser person learns from mistakes of others. Because I was hearing what they were doing wrong and where they had messed up in life. And what it taught me, because everybody shares a story, kind of to keep each other on track and to remind them why they don't need to relapse, meaning go back out there to drugs and alcohol. Everybody learned from everybody's story. Sometimes the crackhead, I'm saying crackhead because they were in recovery, but a lot of times it was too hard to stay in recovery. They're yo-yoing. Sometimes they had the most powerful stories, and I didn't need to go out and experience things for myself because I heard from one of they were like second mother and father figures, second uncle and auntie figures, right? When I hear one of my uncles say, crack had me out there so bad, I was out there sucking.
Yeah.
And I'm not even gay. I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm in second grade hearing this, like I don't need to go and experience crack for myself to know that I don't need to be doing that, right?
Yeah.
And so it was stories like that, and then Jack Ma, who owns Alibaba, the wealthiest man in China, he said, people think you're supposed to learn from successes, and I say, no, you learn from all the failures, so you can keep improving. You learn what other people did wrong, you learn from that. And so now that I have multiple multimillionaire mentors, a few billionaire mentors, I still haven't learned more powerful lessons from those wealthy mentors than I have from the former crackheads who helped raise me, right?
Yeah.
Because I realized the most powerful lessons are a lot of times learn from what people do wrong and what not to do, and realizing I'm human too.
Yeah.
I'm not perfect. If they did that and it led them down that path eventually, prison or death,
yeah,
like a lot of them lost their homes, cars, families, or their lives because they made a few wrong decisions. Well, when I see myself going down a similar path, it's like, oh, this is what they were talking about.
Yeah.
I'm no better than them. Let me stop now while I'm ahead so I can readjust, reassess, and redirect.
Yeah. And I feel like that's a really valuable thing to think about. We look around and we kind of like, we can understand that what others are doing that led them to where they're at. We can stop, understand, and it comes with understanding yourself as well.
Absolutely.
It's like you see it, and I feel like a lot of people, I was thinking about it one time. I was like, why don't people put that, like, not be great, but like, why don't people have that kind of like, that like, what is it? And I thought about it and I was like, oh, wow. Like it started becoming like really hard to like, even I couldn't even fathom it. But it was because I kind of slowed down and understood that this is who I am. I learned from like the mistakes of others.
Yeah.
And do you learn from like you said, I agree with the fact that you learn that you have your habits that lead to X, Y, Z. And if you learn to overcome said habits, you'll overcome yourself eventually. But I definitely do agree with the fact that you learn from others and their mistakes. And that's something that I feel like a lot of us can grow with.
Oh, yeah. And we all have greatness in us.
Oh, yeah.
We just got to tap into it by conquering our own giants, our own Goliaths first.
Yeah. And
your purpose.
That will wrap up.
Hey, man.
That will wrap up.
Appreciate y'all, man.
KSBM Radio's special guest episode.
At King David Reeves on all social media platforms.
And we will add
follow. Give him a follow.
At Mentor Connector.
Mm-hmm. And we will be rapping. We'll be posting this everywhere. This will be everywhere, so don't worry. This will be everywhere. And
might have to do a round 2, man.
Hey,
I'm down.
I wasn't ready for this. They surprised me with this interview.
Yeah,
I thought we were coming in for a whole nother meeting. This was cool. It was cool. I appreciate it. I want her to ask more questions. Y'all being discriminating. I'm talking about equal opportunity up here. All right, they're being very sexist. I just want for the record.
On Women's Month.
Exactly. It's Women's History Month. You got these men, these barbarians asking the question. This is Women's History Month. That's a women's. But no, thank y'all, man. It's truly an honor. And this is an amazing team y'all got here. And I'm excited. Y'all don't really know. I was really just grading y'all the whole time, even though this interview is going to be out there because we're trying to take this to a district level. Mm-hmm. Now, all y'all may not still want to plug in and be here, but it's going to be big. Y'all doing this for all the town view, but you're going to be doing it for the whole school district.
The whole school district.
Even when you're in college.
Exactly. And we will see you guys in the next show. Follow us. Oh, you're watching us on Twitch right now. Follow us at our other handles below. And we'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.